saying anything, cupped my cheek in his hand and kissed me, and with it everything that wasn't in me, and the kiss fell away. 19, Dean pulled me over to the couch. He sat next to me, his arm laid around my shoulders, and tucked me right against him. Again, I found myself struck by how nice this was. Nick, we have to talk about this, Dean said, sounding serious. I didn't like him so serious. Dean, there is nothing to talk about. I honestly don't even understand why you're insisting. This should be good news to you, I said, letting a little frustration enter my voice. Is that what you really think? I shrugged, not sure why he seemed so upset. Okay, come with me, Dean said, standing. What, come with me? He repeated, now holding out his hand. Okay, I said, a little unsure. My uncertainty grew when I realized we were heading to the gym. Dean, what are you doing? Making things clear. We walked inside and he turned to face me. You're going to fight me, holding nothing back until one of us gives up or can't safely continue. What? I stared at him, eyes wide. Fight him? Why in the world would he want me to fight him? No, this is stupid. Yes, you are, and it's not, Dean insisted, kicking off his shoes. We are going to make it clear how we both stand in contrast to each other. If you kick my ass, I'm going to get up and show you, unlike your dad, I can take it like a man and not be intimidated. If I kick your ass, laughed a bark of dry laughter, and Dean grinned. Then you'll finally believe me when I say I can hold my own. Either way, hopefully, you'll stop this mopey I'm moving on crap. Seriously, where's the girl that knocked me out when we met? 'Cause I'm starting to miss her. That fluttery sensation returned from deep in my belly, and I shook my head. Dean, we don't have to do this. This isn't a debate, beautiful. We're going to do this one way or another. I could walk out right now, I said, crossing my arms over my chest. I dragged your ass right back here. You're overestimating yourself, I replied, narrowing my eyes now. And you're starting to sound scared. Are you, the fierce future alpha, afraid of moi? My jaw tightened. Of course I wasn't afraid of him. I lifted my chin. I'm only afraid of you getting hurt. Don't worry, I can take it. Hell, I might even like it, Dean teased. I sighed and kicked off my shoes as well. Fine, it's your funeral. Can't think of any way I'd rather go, Dean said, the grin growing as I walked to the center of the room with him. Oh, and remember, hold nothing back, because I won't. Without pause, he swung at me with a right hook. I ducked and moved to his right, dropping into a defensive pose. He came at me again, throwing punches and kicks. If I couldn't avoid them, I blocked them, dancing around him and keeping him in the center of the room. I only had to do this until he wore himself out and be done with all of this. Dean shook his head and clicked his tongue. You're holding back, he said. I gasped as he wrapped an arm around my neck, pulling me to him to knee me in the side twice before sending me back, flying with an uppercutting me in the jaw. I stumbled back, falling, as white spots danced in my vision. Come on, Nick. You can do better than this. I shook my head and stood, feeling irritated. Fine, but this is on you, I growled at him and charged, feigning a jab to his midsection, and instead hit him with a hook to the face. For some reason, Dean grinned and nodded. It is, he said, walking back to me and tried to grab my shirt, but I brushed him off and sent him hopping back as I kicked out at him, following with another hook. He caught my wrist, pulled me toward him, elbowing me in the back, but I fell and rolled away when he tried to knee me again. I kicked out again, and this time I caught the side of his knee, making him fall. I got up, grabbed his hair, forcing his head back and punching him twice and kneeing him again. Had enough. Dean was bleeding from his nose and a few cuts in his brow and lip. Yet he simply smirked at me. Almost, he said, and used his arms to hit me behind the knees, and as I fell, he tackled me. We wrestled on the floor. His hits were getting in as much as I was blocking them. It wasn't long before I realized I may not win this fight. For all his laid-back and passive persona, Dean was a vicious and unpredictable fighter. I had the bloody bite mark on my arm to prove it. With a kick and a shove, I finally threw him off of me, but I was too tired to get up. Okay, I'm done, Dean said, mirroring my own thoughts. Yeah, me too, I admitted. I could have lied and claimed victory, but it would be petty and stupid. Neither of us moved for a while, and I took the time to take stock of where I hurt, which I quickly realized was everywhere. Dean rolled on his side, gave me a bloody smirk. So is it good for you too? Another dry bark of laughter broke from me. You're an idiot, I said, more worn out than I had been in weeks. Maybe a little, he said, snaking his arm around me and pulling me over to him, and groaned. Man, you have a mean punch. And you have a mean bite. Seriously, I can't believe you bit me, I said, holding up my arm. It was healed over, but the faint pink marks of his teeth were still visible. Hey, I said I wouldn't hold anything back. It's not my fault you assumed I was lying, Dean said, an expression turned serious again. See, I can hold my own, Nick. He could do more than that. Geesh, I also don't need you to be weaker than me. I like you as you are and don't want you to change a single thing. You were born to be alpha. It's obvious. You are going to be an amazing alpha. My throat tightened, and I swear I felt tears stinging my eyes. I punched Dean's shoulder, lightly because I didn't want to hurt him anymore, and secondly, I was too tired to put any more force into it. The pack is happy with Brandon, say they circumflex. How about we verify this? Just because her parents said so doesn't make it so, and if it is, I'll introduce you to Harry and something he has in the works that might be a good plan B. What plan B? I'll tell you later, Dean said, and the smirk returned. You know, back in the day, gladiators were rewarded with a woman's company when they won. Since I won, he wagged his eyebrows at me. You didn't win. You said you were done. Yeah, but so did you. You said it first, I argued. Well, true. All right, you can have the reward of my company. He dug his fingers into my ribs, tickling me. I laughed and groaned. Stop, my ribs still hurt. The only reward I want is a bath and a nap. Oh, I like your thinking. I laughed again, despite my ribs. I didn't remember inviting you. I invited myself, of course, he said, and I gawked as he hopped up to his feet as if he wasn't tired at all. Not only that, he took my hand and pulled me up to my feet. Come on, let's go get you pampered. Pampered? I don't do pampered, I said back, hiding my shock. Seriously, I was exhausted. How had I underestimated him so much? You've been missing out. Come on, beautiful. 90, 20. Hey, Nick, where you be a circumflex? Whoa, what happened to you two? John asked as Dean and I left the gym. He quickly shook his head, held up his hands. Actually, I don't think I want to know. So we've been kind of waiting for you and figure what we're going to do next. Back to work, I told Dean and rubbed a kink out of my shoulder. I need a shower, and then we can discuss the what next. Meet you guys in 30 or 40 minutes, okay? Sure thing, John said, giving us an odd stare before turning around and going back where he came from. Well, rain check on the pampering. I'll get some sleep and catch you later, Dean said and slung his arm around my shoulders and gave me a hug. But don't let them keep you up too long. You need to get some sleep too. Doctor's orders. Nope, nurses, and everyone knows that's what counts, he said, grinning that bright cocky grin of his. Go do your thing, boss lady. We'll catch up later. With a quick kiss on my cheek, he left, following John. I ran a hand over my head and tried not to grin like an idiot as I headed to my room to take a quick shower before meeting with others. They were waiting for me in the game room. What happened? John said you and Dean were looking pretty rough earlier, Wesley asked me as soon as I walked in. I told you I don't think we want to know the details, John said, smirking. I held up my fist. Do you want me to knock that empty head off your shoulders? My threat only made the smirk grow. Dean was showing me what he could do. Sade spat out the soda she was drinking and coughing violently. Oh God, grow up, guys. I'm talking about fighting. We sparred. Even Wesley was snickering now. How did it go? He asked, rubbing his chin. I rolled my eyes and sat on a bar stool. He's good. Get your mind out of the gutter and let's talk business. Now, don't get offended, but Dean suggested it, and I think it's worth a shot, but I would like you guys to verify Sade parents' information. Is the pack happy with Brandon? My parents wouldn't lie, Sade said, sounding offended like I told her not to be. I'm not saying they are, but it doesn't hurt to check it out anyway. Right, no, I guess not, she said, still looking a little offended. Next, Dean mentioned a possible plan B involving some guy named Harry. Know who that is? No clue, John said, shrugging. I do. Brooke, the future Luna, her stepdad's name is Harry, but I don't see how he could have any kind of plan B. The man used to be Black Mountain's beta until he defected to this pack when the war started. From what I heard, he usually doesn't involve himself in pack business, and he certainly hasn't tried to improve his rank among this pack. Okay, well, find out what you guys can. I need to get some sleep, I told him. I bet she does, John whispered to Wesley, elbowing him. I grabbed the little chalk cube and tossed it at him, hitting him right in the head. Shut it now. Oh, that hurt, John complained. Go, Nick. We got the fort, Wesley told me. Thanks, Wesley. I can count on you at least. When I was in my room, I was out as soon as my head hit the pillow, and I didn't wake up until late in the afternoon. Wesley had started making a few calls, and all signs were pointing that Sade's parents were right. Wesley assured me not to give up hope yet. He still had a lot more to make, but we all knew how it was going to go. So when Wesley finished and the results were for Brandon, I asked Dean about his plan B. He first gave me a hug and told me my pack was full of idiots and now we're driving to meet this hairy guy, but he wouldn't give me any details. The house at the driveway Dean pulled into was small, but homey. If I was right, this was on the edge of Alpha Brent's territory. We got out of the car and Dean knocked on the door. A little boy, maybe 5 or 6 years old, jumped in him as soon as the door was open. "Uncle Dean," he squealed. Dean caught the boy and swung him around. "Hey, little man." An older woman followed the boy. She kissed Dean on the cheek. "Dean, we weren't expecting you, were we?" "Not," he said, setting the boy down. "Nancy, this is Nick," he said, slipping an arm around my waist and pulling me over next to him. I gave her a tight-lipped smile, awkwardness fluttering through me. "Nice to meet you, Nick," she said, smiling and sounding as if she meant it. "We came to talk to Harry. I think Nick could help him with his project." Nancy's expression of curiosity matched my own. "Oh, I see. Well, coming, of course. Adam, go get your father." The little living room was cozy. "Take a seat anywhere. Would you like something to eat or drink?" I shook my head, but Dean said, "A Coke and some of those cookies of yours, please." He all but batted his eyes at her. Nancy grinned with a giggle. "Sure thing, Dean." I took a seat on the couch and tried not to feel horribly out of place. Dean sat next to me and patted my knee, and again I gave him a tight-lipped smile. The little boy came back and climbed up in his lap, all the while giving me a strange look. "What happened to your hair?" he asked me finally. "Are you like sick or something?" "Mom says that sometimes happens to sick people." I ducked my head, embarrassed. "No, I'm not sick. I just like it this way." He wrinkled his nose. "But you're a girl." "So," I said, perhaps a little too defensively because he shied away from me and into Dean. "Even girls can have short hair," Dean told him. "Just like Uncle Andy is a boy and has long hair and ponytails." I blew out of breath and rested my arms on my thighs. This domestic stuff so wasn't me. Something that felt a lot like shame twisted at my stomach. Thankfully, a man walked into the room, taking a seat in a chair to Dean's right. "So, Dean, what is it you wanted to see me about?" "Harry, this is Nick. She's just what you've been looking for." "And why would that be?" he asked, looking at me with obvious suspicion and doubt. Dean set the boy, Adam, down as Nancy brought him the soda and cookies. Nick was the future alpha of her pack until her douchey brother came back and kicked her out, he told him, then turned to me. "Harry's been working on an idea, making a new kind of pack. The idea is for it to be a place for werewolves to live without all the dominance games or being under an alpha who rules his wolves as he pleases and no one can do anything about it. His only problem is he hasn't an alpha who can stand up to challenges from other alphas. Well, yeah, he'd need alpha because that was going to cause a lot of friction, and the idea of this type of pack intrigued me, of course. "And you think this girl," he said, then met my gaze, "no offense, is who I'm looking for?" "Yep," Dean said without hesitation. "She gets what being alpha is all about, what it's really about." I tried not to flush at the compliment while Harry looked at me as if he wasn't sure. "Nick, was it? What are your thoughts on my plan?" As someone who has lost her friends and home because only a man can lead, I'm interested, but this is going to piss off all those old sons of B. I started, then remembered the kid was in the room. Biscuits who don't want change. What's your plan for that? Or is the alpha supposed to take care of all that himself, or in my case herself? "Nice save," Dean whispered with a snick. "Their own rules state that alphas can rule their pack how they deem as long as there is no extreme cruelty, and more importantly, they do nothing to expose us to humans. As we wouldn't be doing either, the alphas have no say in my intent to remind them of this," Harry replied. I nodded, admittedly impressed. "Okay, but where are you going to have your territory?" "Right here," he replied. "This is Alpha Brent's territory. He's agreed to give me the southwest piece of his territory for my own," Harry answered. I scoffed in disbelief. "Brent gave you part of his territory?" "Yeah, right. Not without some pretty big strings." "No, Dad really did. He's been working with